So for deep stretch, you'll want 2 blocks, a blanket, and a bolster if you have. If you have none of those things, will totally make do. You can always use things nearby, makeshift props, but um, I do find having them quite helpful. And our pose, we'll take a couple of them today that are focused from the week, the supported fish, and we're going to work towards double pigeon. So a lot of the hips. Any other requests for today's practice? Any requests? No? Going once? Oh, back and shoulders. Yes, we can definitely make room for the back. That's actually where we're going to start today is in a hang. So you'll have your blanket folded up at the top of your mat, kind of flat as you can in folds. And if you don't have a blanket, you can just fold up part of your mat to kind of thicken it. And you'll actually step on with your heels, letting your skull hang. So it'll look kind of like heels on, feet hip distance or a little wider, and then a bend of the knees. So my knees, I'm fairly mobile, and even here I'll bend the knees a little bit more so my head can hang. You can have blocks under the hands or even under the head. So this could feel really good for some of us. We're going to stay in this fold for a few minutes, like 2 minutes. So standing forward fold at the top of your mat, bend your knees, gonna get inverted, get the legs some space. And yeah, if you have your playlist, you can start it now. Let's take a deep breath in, fill up nice and full. Opening the mouth, exhale, let it all go. Let it melt from your shoulders. Let it settle in from your feet. Try to lift up from the heel of your butt. Let your skull hang heavier to the ground. Feel your shoulders draw gently apart from your ears. Let's take a deep breath into the back of our lungs. Fill the upper back, the mid back, the low back. And as you exhale, feel your belly soften. Maybe bend the knees a little more. Get your belly to rest on the thighs. Yeah, that's great. And take a few breaths. Maybe let's take, let's say 5 rounds in and out here on your own. Try to follow the breath from your low back to the neck and shoulders as you inhale. Feel your feet stay heavy on the ground. Exhale. Breathe in, expand, create volume. The lungs, the body, a stretch. And then the exhale to draw in and compress. And finally, this last exhale, you'll just bend the knees a bit more, press into the feet, and slowly round up to standing. Finding your Tadasana, really taking your time. Shoulder heads apart, chin away from the chest, but a micro tuck there so the neck stays long. You can step off of your blanket if you'd like, or your mat, however you create that slight lift if you have. Inhale, let's just stretch the lungs, side ribs, back ribs, open it up. Out through the mouth, exhale. Bring the hands together over the heart. Pausing here for a moment. Feel the ground beneath you, the air around your skin. A feeling of this moment. And reaching maybe for a gentle intention. What would you like to honor this practice to today? What is your why for showing up? Beginning our exploration of our sankalpas, our deepest vows, as we move through this yoga practice. So just checking in with an intention, what brought you to your mat, this dedicated time and space. Another inhale, let it fill you, and then exhale, let it go. You'll reach the arms up overhead, take a deep breath in, grab opposite elbows. And as you exhale, side bend to your right. And inhale through center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Let's do that again. Inhale through center. Side bend to the right. Left foot stays heavy. Inhale through center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Right foot stays heavy. Breathing in through center. Let the palms meet behind the low back. As you exhale, interlace your fingers and extend the arms. Bend the knees, lift the heart, inhale. And then exhale, let your heart go first, forward and down. Your butt comes up at the end. And then straighten the legs to your degree. Your skull can hang. Look back behind you. Shake the head, yes. Shake it, no. Take an inhale to release the hands down to the ground. As you exhale, let's step back to table pose. And in table pose, I just want you to take your right leg back, tuck the toes into the mat behind you, look forward as you inhale. And as you take the next round of breath or so out and in, you'll start to press that heel forward and back, moving on the ball mount of that right foot. Just stretching out the calves, the back of that right leg, last round, last exhale. Then you'll inhale, lift that right leg, and exhale, tuck the right knee behind the left, squeeze the inner thighs together, and then just gently push your hips back. You can even walk your hands over to the left. And if you have your props accessible and it feels like the ground's really far away, you can always bring the ground up and bring your hands onto a prop. But it's not as firm, so I find that typically the ground works a little bit better. The blocks might be an alternative. Let's just stay here for 3 inhales and exhales. Squeeze lightly those thighs together, but pressing those hips back. Try not to pull the shoulders up to your ears. Feel your shoulder blades on your back, the muscles around the scapulas. Inhaling to expand and exhale to let go. You'll come up, inhale, reach that right leg back through that 3-limb table, point the toes down, and then as you exhale, you're going to take that right foot over to your right. So you're in this modified table where the sole of the right foot is planted, your left shin is on the ground, and then you're just going to gently press back to a modified child's pose. If you'd like to bring up the bolster or blanket back so your hips can rest on it, that's an option. And then you can even bring your blanket and rest your forearms there, letting your head slide down. It can rest at props wherever it feels good. We're going to step back in this for a short while. The sole of your right foot can be down, or you can even pivot on that heel, turning the toes up to the ceiling, modifying this. And let's say getting down to the ground is hard. If you've got like a table or chair nearby, you can also sit in this slightly more elevated. Breathe in. Breathe out. Long inhales, spacious exhales. Coming back to your intention, what brought you here today? Is it the same thing that usually brings you to your mat? Is it something more unique at this time, the season of your life, the cultural circumstance? Is it personal? Is it wider reaching? Just starting to explore what we're here for. There might be lots of reasons you're here, okay? That's why we kind of check, we ask ourselves a question, what is it that we're doing? Why are we doing it? By the time we get to the why is when we really start understanding ourselves, and then maybe the opportunities to see where we want to make things different for ourselves. If why we're doing what we're doing is working for us, then great, we don't have to change. But if it's not, we're not getting what we need out of it, and then we can start to explore, evolve our intention. Let's take 3 more breaths here. A long inhale in, and a full exhale out. We've been down, you're in this position for a while, so I want you to be really mindful. You're gonna come on up to your hands and your knee. You'll swing that left foot out in front of, or you from underneath you, and then just let your legs go long. Sitting on your butt here, you can come back through the middle of your mat. You can sit off to the side. Shake it out. Inhale, sit up tall. Open the mouth and exhale. Let it out. Again, deep breath in. And then exhale. Let it out. Slowly, you'll cross the ankles, plant the hands, come back onto your hands and knees. And let's take that left leg back behind us. You're going to tuck the toes in, and we're going to go back and forth. We did this for a couple of breaths. The movement's a little faster than the inhale and exhale, so it's just a pivot, stretching, expanding. And once you've done that calf opening here, you're just going to float that left leg. You'll tuck the left knee behind the right, and then gently pressing those hips back, you can walk the hands to the right if you'd like. And you may go as far back as you did on the other side, or you might feel quite a bit more elevated, and each side again will be different, so be patient with it. This is a lot on your knees. You can fold your mat over a little bit to thicken the padding underneath that front left knee, or that back left knee technically. Yeah, props under the hands might be helpful, under the head. You'll start to create an intuitive practice here. That's why it's nice to have the props. Just kind of grab them, shove them, make them work for you. And settle in. We're not in this one quite as long, but definitely several breaths. Know that if I call us out of a pose and you're just like really getting the rhythm in it, stay. You're welcome to stay a while longer. If it honors why you've come here, then let it flourish. Take that experience for yourself. Deep breath in. Long breath out. So let's take one more inhale all the way to the back of your lungs. Exhale. Try to soften where you found your tension creeping in. And then you'll come up slowly through center. You'll once again inhale, reach that left leg back, and then take it over to your left. Set the sole of the foot down, and eventually you'll press your hips back. Once again, you'll find props where it might feel nice. Might be good under that left sit bone. It might be nice to have a block under the head. This might be a really big stretch for your inner thigh. You might even turn your left toes up. So explore what you need for support to encourage the stretch. We're not forcing or coercing the practice, at least to the best of our ability. And then once you've settled in, start to explore what shape you've taken, bringing that intention back to this pose, this breath, this moment. Keep your breath steady and spacious if you can. Steady breath in and long breath out. Not here for too much longer, so find something to focus on physically, energetically. Maybe it's a sensation of the stretch, the legs, the hips, the back. It's a feeling of turning inward, downward, and into the ground. The space and time you take to inhale and exhale. Let's take those last few breaths. A long inhale, a full exhale. Be mindful as you come up off of your right heel. You'll bring your heel under you, or you'll come onto your bottom, bring your legs forward, straighten the legs out, and just give them a little ring or a little shake out. So, me prepping for where we're headed. We're going to take a seated twist. So from here, you can just let your legs come long. You have your blanket close by or a bolster even. You can Sit up on it, bringing your pelvis to the edge so it kind of tilts. Okay. Legs apart, toes in and out, and then let them go soft. So we're not in super flexion here. And let's just start to turn to your left. So your left hand's gonna come behind you, right hand's gonna come in front of you. Inhale, sit up tall. Then exhale, look behind you. Inhale, sit a little taller. Exhale, look a little further over that right shoulder. Last one, deep breath in. Exhale, twist it out. And then inhale through center. Just roll those shoulders out as you exhale, shimmy them. Breathe in, sit up tall. And as you begin to exhale, twist to your right. Right hand behind you, left hand in front of you. Inhale for length. And exhale, look over the shoulder. Your blocks can always come under your hands to help you stay tall if the ground is far away for you to reach. So you can have blocks under your hands. Take one more exhale, moving left ribs toward right ribs, chin towards that right shoulder. And then inhale through center. Let's find the legs crossed and sit up tall. Left hand will go beside you as you inhale, right arm sweeps up, bend over. Exhale, soften the left shoulder. Breathe in from right hip to right fingers. Look down to your left hand as you exhale. And then inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, switch your legs. Which one's in front? Breathe in, left arm reaches up. Exhale, bend over to your right. Inhale from left sit bone to left fingers. Look down to your right hand as you exhale. Breathe in, come through center. And exhale, let's come on two hands in knees table pose. So we found our side bends, we found a little hip work. Now we take that right leg back behind us, okay? And you're gonna take that right leg back behind your left foot over to the left. You see, so it's crossing behind my mat. It's coming off of my mat behind my off to the left side. You're gonna look over your left shoulder for your left heel. It's a deep contraction for that left side. So you might walk the hands a little closer in. You might bring you can bring blocks under the hands if that helps you keep your side body spacious without cramping, crunching on that left side. But we're breathing in for 3. Another inhale, 2. Exhale fully. Last one, deep breath in. And a big exhale, you're gonna look past your fingers, okay, your right hand in particular, and take that right foot and step it all the way outside that right hand. Help it forward. So your right foot is way to the top of your mat. You're gonna scoop that left knee back. Your blanket can come under that knee if you like. And then grabbing your blocks, we're gonna take dragon pose. So I always recommend coming to the inside arm first, so we don't dump out into this outer hip. We're staying our hips centralized. Right elbow, then left elbow. And eventually the chin can tuck in. If you want to pivot on your right heel, you can turn your right foot out at a 45. So the toes will point to the corner. And you can even heel up onto the outside edge of that right foot. Some of you might take this into a deeper stretch forward your left hip flexor and a twist in your pelvis. You've got quite a few places to go, but I recommend starting at least with dragon for the first minute in this pose and then letting it evolve. Your intention might change, right, as you move through the practice. And so as a pose, while you're doing it can transmute, it can evolve, and if not now, when? So that's what we're exploring. Explore what the pose is, why you're here, how qualities and experiences together. And just find your breath. If your back knee is feeling any pressure, you can always fold your mat up and allow yourself to have a little more padding underneath it. Yeah, I saw Hannah, that was lovely. You can always go back into half splits to kind of open up that hamstring if you need, and then come forward into the deep bend. Explore what you need. There's a lot going on around us. It might be just within our homes. I like escape away to the studio to practice because my kids and my dogs literally give me no private space of my own. Yeah, Betsy. And then you're carrying another being around with you. So like, what is being by yourself? It's really quite a bit. And then there's all this stuff going around in our communities and the world around us. We carry that with us mentally, and even if we think we've organized it and we're coping with it, it tucks itself away into our bodies, right? And we become tense in places. We become more tense with habit. So give yourself room to kind of work it out. That sometimes holding the pose is just a lot, and coming out of it, adding a little movement can help you get maybe a little deeper. We'll stay in this pose for about 5 more cycles of breath. So that's it. 5 more inhales and exhales. Maybe you move the blocks out of the way from inside the foot and come all the way down to the ground with your elbows. Maybe you come up onto the palms of your hands and make more space that way. Adjusting the shape doesn't always mean going deeper. It might mean physically more space, but that mental depth that can grow. About halfway there, last couple breaths. And then hands can come to the blocks at first. You want to just like feel a nice little lift here. You can press down, turn those right toes forward. If the toe were turned out, press down, lift up, open the belly, the hip flexor. And then taking your blocks back with you, you can straighten that right leg. And just for a moment, sit back. You can keep it really tall and sit on 2 blocks, or you can just sit on that 1 block in a half hero's pose, half staff pose. Take a long breath in, and you can start to fold a little full breath out. There's a big stretch in the back of the right leg. 1 long breath in, and another full breath out. And then just walk those hands over to the right a little. You can lift up the spine. You can even bring a block over here off to the right. Inhale, and then exhale. Soften in. We'll come back up, breathing in. Rock it forward, moving your props. Let's come back to a table pose. You can just bring that right knee back. Shake the hips, wag your tail. Take a couple cat-cows. I like a good neck roll, get real into it. Let's even try this. Let's walk our hands forward, 2 handprints from your table. So like 1, and then 1 more, and then reach your butt up and back and your chest towards the ground, puppy dog pose. That's a big stretch for the spine. Look forward, inhale. Try to lift your armpits away from the ground, exhale. And then slowly press into the hands, walk your hands in. And you'll take your left leg, you're gonna take it back behind you, and you're gonna cross it over to the right this time, tucking the toes into the ground, pressing the heel away. And as you press the ground away, you might notice you need blocks to help keep the chest from collapsing. Look over that right shoulder, breathe in for round 3. Try not to collapse in the right ribs, but soften them. Breathe in another round. 2. Last one, deep breath in. Exhale. Soften onto the palms of your hands a bit more. Look forward. As you inhale, step that left foot all the way outside the left pinky finger. And then you can scoot that right knee back to get, and again, folding the mat always works, adding a blanket underneath it. You'll just start to work into your dragon variation on your left side. Yeah. What you feel on this side might be very similar and might be quite different. And as you come to stillness, I invite you to explore your intention again. What's it look like now and in this pose? What brought you to your mat today, this practice today? Does it resonate here as we lunge deeply and drop ourselves into the ground, as we stretch and strengthen? As we work through what's gotten rigid and firm and bring a little softness there, as we bring firmness to what's gone soft and dull. Add your props, take them out. If you're in that dragon, you can always add that twist there if you wanted, where the left foot turns out, pressing the thigh bone away, peeling up off of the left sole. It's interesting how we carry what goes on around us. And it's not even just to talk about, like the climate of the country in general, but like things like weather around you, right? When it starts to get cold, we start to clench up. When we go outside, that frigid air, that reflex settles in. And we do that time after time after time, and it tightens things and it traps things. We don't even notice that tension's crept in. So give yourself some room. We're more than halfway done with this pose. This side. Do you need to come up out of it a little? Do you need to go in a little deeper? Are there any habits of which you, the residue of them that you might be feeling right now? Might show up like tightness in your muscles and joints. Take a long breath in, a full breath out. Last 3 rounds. Coming up to the palms of your hands as you're done. You might keep the blocks under your hands and just kind of press down, elevate out of your pelvis just to give yourself a nice little stretch in the front of that right hip. And then we shift back. So the block can come under that left sit bone. You can have both blocks there or something else. And just fold for 2 cycles of breath here, opening the back a little differently. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then lifting the chest slightly, you can take it over to your left. So it's just a little and then to come down. Breathe in. Breathe out. And finally, sitting up. You'll come forward, hands and knees, table pose, stepping that left foot back. One more time, shake it out. Cat and cow. Barrel roll. Just find those organic movements that might feel right. Stay a little longer. There's like a snap, a crackle, a pop. I like a good snap, you know. Go for them. Take it for what it's worth. And we're going to, I can't see the time. I don't have my watch on. Great, we have plenty of time. Okay. I'm going to bring this down to the ground. I don't really like to bring this up and down a ton. So your props you'll keep nearby. We're going to take supported fish. I'm going to offer you a couple of things. So we've been folding. We've been opening that back, and I want to take it into a deep contraction. And we've been contracting the front body quite a bit. Now we're going to open it up. So I might recommend that if you have a block and it doesn't feel too hard, you can even do a block with a blanket over it just to soften the edges of it. But I really do like the feeling of the block along the back of your heart. So the block would be, this is going to be a slight lift, and I'm going to tell you why this is where I'm going to suggest you go, and then you can choose for yourself. So you've got a few options here. Your head will likely hang, and that's where your second block comes in. And now you can rest your head on the lowest setting. Oh, this already feels so good. And then last but not least, your blanket can be rolled up. And so it takes a little like figuring this out. We're here for 5 minutes, y'all. So 5 good minutes in this pose before we take our last couple poses. So block behind the heart on the middle setting. So you've got like baby bear, mama bear, papa bear setting. So it's on that like mama bear setting. That middle behind your heart. That other block can be on that lowest setting or baby bear setting, and then a bolster or blanket rolled up behind the knees. And then however much of this you want to incorporate, you can. If the block is too firm, you can roll your blanket like a long burrito and let it rest along the length of your spine. And this is a great place to be. So you'll pick for yourself a fish, a back bend here that you'll hold for the next 5 minutes. Starting now. Yeah, cover up, make it cozy. You're going to be here for a minute. If your hands and feet are cold, you know, cover up. Might be nice to put a blanket across your pelvis. If you have an extra blanket, just kind of feel that grounding sensation. So we open ourselves up, our belly, our hearts. What do we encounter? What's the sensation? What's the thought process that follows? How interwoven our psychology and our physiology are. So as you maintain the shape, exploring what brought you here. I feel like a record, right? I've said it so many times. What brought you onto your mat? What brought you into this moment? Um, how are you feeling now as we're near the end of our practice? It's a mental experience, a physical experience. Have you found something new, something you weren't expecting? Did you find something you've maybe forgotten, set aside? They say we tuck away our memories, our thoughts, our experiences into our body, and then these meridians, these lines that run through our organs, uh, the tissues, with this yin practice, they're activated, right? They're stretched out and they explore themselves. And so don't be surprised if a certain emotion comes up or an experience comes up, a memory. Long breaths in, long breaths out. Let's take 5 more of those. Last 5 breaths. Feel the breath where you can. Maybe more for you, it's in your side ribs. Okay. The collarbone. What's encouraged by this shape as we take on the breath? Allow your back to soften as you exhale around your prop. Coming out, I really want you to be cautious with this, okay? Tip over to a side is what I always suggest when coming out of these back bends. So be slow, walk the feet in, bend the knees, roll off to a side, and even just pause there for a moment. There's no hurry to move the props aside. Explore being in this one direction, and then helping yourself up to seated. Yes, there we are. Just sitting up tall. Inhale, let's reach the arms overhead. Good, grab opposite elbows. Exhale, bend over to your right. Inhale through center, bend over to your left. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Inhale through center, switch which arm is in front or on top. Grabbing elbows again, bending to the right. Inhale through center and over to your left. And then back through center. You'll let your arms come down. Roll those shoulders out. Double pigeon. This pose, I really love this pose. You may feel different about it. You can always take half pigeon instead if you'd like to, which is our like sleeping swan. One leg in front. I don't care which one you do. I'm gonna take us through double pigeon with your left shin on the bottom. So your left shin goes right in front of the pelvis. You gotta kind of square it up. So scoot that right leg to the right, I like to think. And then you'll bend the right knee in, helping that right leg up, over. You can take a couple like rock babies with your shin. And then helping that right foot, if you can, on top of that left knee. If that's too far, like that mobility in if your hips doesn't work today, you can bring a block in front of your left shin and place the right foot there. You have more blocks. If you can get this and you can get 2 blocks under your hands, I'm going to offer you to sit here for a couple breaths. Wherever you are, even if it's just 1 block, you can kind of rest. Try to get a long, neutral spine, so your natural curves of your spine. And just by trying to sit tall, plug your sit bones in and reach your crown high, you're compressing the hips a little. And then slowly, for about 10 breaths, we'll take a forward fold. So you'll fold to your degree. If you can get your head onto props, I highly encourage it. And that might look like stacking your blocks on the tallest setting, resting your hands on top, and just letting your chin tuck in. So find 10 inhales and 10 exhales, okay? 10 in, 10 out, however long, however short. Allow the breath to remain comfortable for you. Maybe stay a little longer in the inhale, in the back of your lungs, really taking that stretch back there, up into the shoulders even. Using the exhale to soften the tension around the hips, the jaw, the forehead. Last few cycles of breath. And when you sit up slowly on the inhale, pause as you exhale, help your top leg up and off. So you'll kind of give that right leg a little shimmy, let the right leg go long. Once again, let the left leg come out and long, toes in and out. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, twist to your left. Breathe in, taller. Exhale, look behind you. You can even wrap that left arm around the hip. Last inhale. Exhale to ring, and then back through center, inhaling. Exhale, let the shoulders soften, walk it to your right. Breathe in, and then you can even wrap that right arm around your back if you'd like. Taking the twist in the seated posture one more time. Noticing anything that might be the same, anything that's different. Your inhale will bring you through center. And now you'll bring that right shin in front of the hips, pelvis, a gentle flexion of the toes, bend that left knee in and help it up. Hold on to it, give it a little rock and a sway. And then to your degree, you settle that right foot on the left knee. I like left foot on right knee. I'm trying to mirror. If you bring the block in front of your right shin, you can set the left foot on top of that. And then sitting up tall is always my first suggestion, just to kind of observe, settle, let the hips compress, the spine reach long. Find your neutral, your natural curve here. And then working to your flexion, your fold, and that'll change the stretch in your hips and your back. And 10 cycles of breath, that's what we are working towards. Let's take our last few cycles of breath. What comes up? What are we exploring in our bodies? Our mental habits, our thought patterns. Just giving ourselves a chance to be with those, explore those. Inhale fully. And as you exhale, let go, come on up slowly to seated. And once again, you'll bring your legs up. You'll take that left leg up and kind of give it a little sway and a rock. And you'll set that left leg long, help that right leg out and long, kind of take those toes in and out. This is just a gentle, hands can go back. Just lift the chest, breathe into the heart, the collarbone. Open the mouth, exhale. And then so slowly, you'll sit up tall. You'll move your props out and aside, and you'll just work onto your back for your final pose, Shavasana. I always recommend a blanket. You can cover with it. I like one behind the head so it can support the little lengthening of the neck at the back of your mat. And the blocks can go on under the back of your hands, giving your wrists a slight lift and your elbows a chance to drop onto the ground. So it looks a little bit like this, where there's just a little support for the head, the very tip top of your shoulders, just barely the tip top of your shoulders. A deep breath in, a long breath out. In this final place, you seal out your practice and we let the dust settle. What was our intention? What brought us here today? Did that stay the same? Did that evolve as we spent more time with ourselves and the poses, the moments, the breath? And for a little while, just trying to be still, be settled. Be gracious with yourself if you wander off. If you fall asleep. Whatever you're supposed to be getting from this, it's happening. We really never stray from the path. So a little bit of that offering of focus. We use our breath. We come back. We think about the future. We bring our breath to our body and we come back. We think about the past. We come to our breath and we come back. Wherever the mind wanders, those things will serve us at some point in time. So be gracious and just keep coming back. Let's start to move fingers, toes, ankles, wrists, head from side to side. Take a nice long stretch, reaching the arms overhead if that feels right today. Expand, expand. And then walking the feet in, feel the feet, feel the soles, feel this moment, your toes. Tip over onto a side. Pause once again. And then rise up to seated. Once you find your comfortable posture, the sit bones plug in, the crown just tall, and allow the palms to meet over the heart. Pausing here once again, bringing to mind the intention you started with or the intention as it's evolved. Why we're here, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And a little bit of gratitude for taking this time to honor that, to take on this practice, this ancient practice, reminding us of the union deep within us. Bowing forward to seal your practice. Namaste.